Hello?
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 Is this Jesse?
Yes.
Hey, Jesse, this is Felix. I'm joined here with Austin. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We are good. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us tonight. We definitely appreciate
I'm so
that.
busy. I'm actually just sitting on the couch right now doing nothing.
You know, when you have times just to do that, I think that's actually a good time.
You got to enjoy that kind of time, you know?
But what we're going to do, we're just going to briefly talk about your wrestling career, ask you a couple of questions, and maybe take a couple of calls from fans if you're okay with that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I'll let my partner in crime here fire away with the first question. Go for it, Austin.
Hey, Jesse, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, man? Nothing. Just chilling at the house.
Well, I want you to, guys, like, how did you get into professional wrestling?
Actually, funny story. Funny to me, actually, but I was working at Blue Martini Orlando as a bouncer, and one of my friends, she come up to me, and I've always, wanted to be a wrestler and stuff, and I was talking to a couple of my buddies of mine that work security with me all the time about it, and she just happened to pop out of nowhere and tell me about the school, Team 3D Academy in Kissimmee, which was like 15 minutes from my house, and I'm like, wow, this is too good to be true, and I'm like, this is what I have to do. So I basically quit and dedicated my whole entire time and sacrificed everything in my life at the time for the training.
That's awesome, actually. When you actually want to do something that you dedicate your life to and you stick with it and don't give up on it no matter what obstacle comes in your way, because I know there are plenty of them.
And in wrestling, definitely a lot of obstacles can come up, but for somebody that truly wants it like me and wants to become the best, you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to touch briefly on, if you don't mind, your time in the military. And just to clarify, what service of the military did you actually serve in?
I served 4 years in the Navy.
Nice. And how was that, getting to travel the world and so forth? Was that pretty exciting?
That's actually why I joined the Navy, was to basically challenge myself and to go around the world and check other countries out and just see what's really out there other than Central Florida, where I lived basically all my life. So I left literally 2 days after I graduated high school, joined up with the Navy, and went off to boot camp, did my school. Yeah, no, I never even looked back, didn't even want to, Of course, I missed my family, of course, anybody would, but, it was just my time to serve my country and do my part, so. And then I got stationed on the USS Cole, which everybody knows was bombed back in October 12, 2000. And I was on board at the time, too. So that definitely basically changed my life from that day on, made me grow up really fast. I was only 20 years old when that happened, and so that basically changed my life. And it put everything in perspective, like what I really wanted to do with my life and what did I need to do, with my life. So it put me on a different path,
I just go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Well, you were talking about the Team 3D Academy. Did Bully and Devon actually, work hand in hand with you guys?
Oh, of course. At the beginning of the school, because I was one of their first students there, out of their first class, and Bubba was there every day with me, man. He basically took me under his wing, and literally every day, 5 days a week for that first entire year, me and him was in the ring together, basically, paying my dues and getting my ass beat, you know what I mean? So, learning the old school way, but with my new vision on what I thought, the wrestling, what my wrestling could be in that ring. So he definitely took me to different levels that I never thought was possible.
I bet he was an intimidating son of a bitch, wasn't he?
When I first heard
no disrespect to Bubba, because I actually enjoy his character.
I mean, I just did an interview with somebody, and they asked me, they're like, in a few words, can you describe Bubba? And I go, a hard-hitting son of a bitch, you know what I mean? Which I agree, and it's true. I mean, he is. He's something that, you don't mess around with. He's straight-up business, and you don't blame him, you know what I mean? He's one of the smartest brains in this business to date,
That's definitely saying something right there. Many people give him the credit he deserves. I mean, he has been known, especially in the WWE, to be very hard-nosed, but it's like you said, when it comes to business, it's all about business, nothing personal, just business, really.
Exactly, and I kind of, And I've taken, ever since I've trained with Bubba and Devon, I've taken, a little bit from each of them, and they both go back and forth. Like, I have a little bit of him, I have a little bit of Bubba, I have a little bit of Devon, but, I have that business sense like Bubba has, and I learned it from him. It's just, when it comes to the wrestling business, if a junior guy or somebody on the same level as me asks me about their match or what they can do better or whatever, I'm straightforward with them. I'm blunt honest, and that's where a lot of my heat comes from, because I am honest with people. I mean, you're going to ask me the question, I'm going to help you get better, because next time you might be in the ring with me, and I'm in there straight business. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm in there to make money and entertain the fans, and that's what's going to happen, So I'm just blunt honest when it comes to it. It's straight business, man. I'm not in this business to make friends. I have enough friends, to be honest with you. I have, and of course my fans are like my friends. They're like a part of my distant family. But when I'm in that ring, it's all business, man. There's nothing personal. I mean, backstage we can shake hands, we can say hey, but you know what? I'm not going to go afterwards and have a beer with you because I don't like you.
You know what? You got to keep it real, though. You got to keep it real.
Exactly. You have to.
And they, like they said a lot of the times, it's going to be cutthroat. It's like, if you're not going to take that spot, I'm going to take you down, and then I'm going to take that spot from you. So,
that I couldn't even have said it better myself, man. Because that's basically this past year has shown me that attitude that I have inside me that people are definitely starting to see, and I'm maturing in this business, and it's taken me to lose a lot of things this past year to realize where I need to be and stuff like that, and I am becoming the best. I am becoming better every day. I am working harder in the gym, harder in that ring and stuff like that. And my indie shows that I do actually shows it. When I go into a town, the guys want to wrestle me because they know they're going to get a hell of a match and entertain the fans. It's going to be the best match of the card, and that's what I bring.
Definitely have been one of the more unique, it's like I was telling Austin earlier, you definitely are one of the more unique type characters I've seen on television in quite a number of years, and that's actually a good thing because you don't see, whether it be the tattoos or whether it be the spiky hair, with, we were just saying about Ink when you were with Shannon. That was an awesome team. I really enjoyed seeing you guys, and I wish they could have put you guys on there a little bit more because, you had something that people wanted to see, and you didn't get a chance to see enough of it.
I totally agree, and some people think that was our downfalls because, we looked different or we acted different or anything, but me and Shannon went out there for a purpose. Obviously to be the best tag team, known, but, and we had a big ladder to climb, and we were doing that. But we also wanted to be different. We wanted to be ourselves. You know what I mean? We didn't want to play in some role that, somebody hands us a script. We want to be ourselves out there, and that's what we were. And, some people were intimidated by that, and some people were loving it because we had great matches with, Team 3D, Motor Machine Guns, Young Bucks, Beer Money. We had some of our best matches, especially on the house shows, man. We were doing crazy things. It was amazing. But, things happen and stuff like that, and people change, and times change, and people jump on different paths, So I just go where I need to be.
Of course. Speaking of Shannon, how did that pairing? How did you guys decide to want to be a tag team? How did it come about?
Well, I was there when him and Jeff showed up in that orange Lamborghini.
Oh, nice.
And as soon as Shannon popped out, I'm like, well, there goes my job. Tattoos and mohawk, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, there goes me. But actually, the first time I met him, he was really cool with me. We sat down and talked about some things. And, him being the veteran that he is, he wanted to, bring me up and teach me some things, which he definitely taught me a lot, being on the road with him for about 2.5, 3 years, that, that I couldn't even pay for it. It was great. It was a great time with Shannon. He showed me a lot, and I think I've grown a lot since we tagged as Ink. And I don't regret a bit of it, man. We sat down and we talked about it, and we come up with this Ink, gimmick with the tag team and, him being a veteran and me coming up, me learning with him, basically my real life character on TV, you know what I mean, learning with him, and I grew into myself, and became myself, and wasn't nervous, wasn't, holding back, towards the end of my TNA career there for a little bit. I wasn't holding back. I was actually truly being myself out there on screen, and And my only regret is that I wish I could have showed more of that. But, unfortunately, we had to part ways,
So when you worked with Team 3D, the guys that, mentored you, were they any different towards you, or did they treat you, with the same...
In the locker room.
Yeah.
What's that, in the locker room? What do you mean?
Did they treat you any differently? Then, since they trained you...
you talking about with Bubba and Devon in the locker room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I was still their student. I was still coming up, but they, I did, get very lucky and get to be able to sign a contract and get to show what I was taught, and they basically, opened the gates for me. Here you go, kid. Let's see what you can do. And definitely got a lot of the respect from that just alone. Me going out there, not being afraid of anything, going out there and taking what was mine, and I got a lot of respect for that.
You
of
got
course,
to be around.
I had to pay my dues and carry their bags and drive them, but that's paying my dues.
Exactly. But coming up in TNA at the time that you were in there, that you actually were around quite a few big names that were there. Guys like Hogan, who's still there, and Flair. I think at the time you were there. Were you there when Flair was still there?
Yes, actually, during my last match against Gunner, Flair was Gunner's manager, and I got to work with him a little bit, which was really cool to do.
You got to be around a lot of those big names, and was there anybody in particular that you when you actually got to meet him, were you kind of like in awe of the guy, like, wow, I'm really getting to work with him? Was it?
Actually, like everybody backstage at TNA was really comfortable with them. You know what I mean? It was like I wasn't really in awe. It was like I was really more of like wanting to learn from them. You know what I mean? Because they all been in business for a long time and stuff like that, and I felt like I could just learn so much from them. So I was really more thinking about like learning stuff from them in and out of the ring backstage. But I'll tell you what, one of the only wrestler probably, other than Bubba when I first met him, that I was like, a fan for. You know what I mean? Like just, oh my God. It was in a New Jersey autograph signing. I met Animal for the first time for the Road Warriors, and wow. I grew up loving the Road Warriors. Like, they were my favorite tag team. I just loved it because they loved to be different, and that's what helped me. Animal helped me create my type of, wanting to stand out and look different, too, with the mohawk and stuff like that, was Animal. And when I met him, I was just like, man, you just don't even know. So it was definitely a good moment in my life, and I'll always remember that.
So anyone that you've actually, of all the tag teams and people you faced, is there anyone that you enjoyed working with more than the other?
Wow, that's a good question. I to be honest with you, I liked a lot of my stuff in TNA that I worked with. Like I said even before, mainly the house shows, because there was a little more freedom and stuff, and I got to really show the TNA house show crowds what I could really do. Because, TV, you got time restrictions and stuff like that, and then, people on a higher level than me, they got to be in doing their thing. But, on the house shows, I got to stand across the ring from Kurt Angle in a six-man tag. Like, I got to wrestle with Kurt Angle. And none of that got on TV, and I'm very sad because of that, because Kurt Angle was, I've watched him when I was a kid and stuff like that, and he's amazing. He's a machine, you know what I mean? And to be in the ring with him and learning, and to have him come back and shake my hand after that match, like a good sportsman he is, it was a great accomplishment in my book, driving away from that building, and I'll always remember that time. But I'd have to say, like, a lot of my stuff on the house shows I've loved, man. Like, especially Ink versus Beer Money. We had so much fun, man. We beat the crap out of each other on these house shows, man. It was just fun. Like I always say, professional wrestlers, like true professional wrestlers, are a breed that is dying, basically, because we'd love to go out there and beat the crap out of each other and entertain the fans, and a lot of people are losing that. That's why I say it's true professional wrestlers, and I just love doing that.
That's what I like, with TNA. What I love about TNA at their house shows Well, the TNA in general, they're so good with their fans. They're second to none. At their house shows, remember when the first time I actually seen you guys wrestle was in 2010, and that was a really good night.
Yeah, that definitely was a good year for Ink Inc. Man, we definitely had our ups and downs, but more ups than downs. And we where was it? Where did you see us at?
Thibodeau, Louisiana.
Ah, yeah, good old Louisiana.
Yeah,
we got lost actually trying to find that building.
I think you guys actually faced Team 3D that night, and Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes. There was some great matches, especially with Team 3D. I mean, we've had matches, we've had table matches, street fights with Team 3D, up in Hammerstein Ballroom and the old ECW arena, and so you can't even pay for that. You know what I mean? Like that experience, and those times will always live with me. So it was definitely good times. Louisiana was fun, definitely fun.
If there was a time in your career, whether it be in the next couple of years or somewhere down the line, that there'd be a person you would like to work with, a person that you like to work with, who would it be?
That is actually very funny you asked that question. I was hoping you'd ask that question. The person I would really love to work with and learn something from and to make me better as a wrestler and a person would probably have to be CM Punk. And I say that because the way he came up in the business, I feel like I'm coming up in that way. You know what I mean? Because, we don't have family in the wrestling business. We don't, we're fighting for every spot that we have. You know what I mean? Like, even on the indies, like, every time I step foot in that ring, no matter where it is, I don't care if it's on TV or in front of 5 people, I put my heart and soul in my match, every single one of them. And the fans know that.
Yeah.
And he does that too, and what he has become is inspiring to somebody like me because, I'm tattooed, I look different, and, I'm not that poster boy, people still call me pretty boy, you know what I mean? I might be rough looking, but, I am pretty. It is pretty. But, it's just like him. I got to have fun with this too, But it's just like him, and he definitely inspires me. I look up to him. I actually met him at Tribute to the Troops last year, and he actually stopped and we had a chat together, and it was just awesome. He took time out of it. He was WWE champion at the time, and it just meant a lot to me. And that moment right there will always live with me because he took a couple of minutes out of his time to talk to me, and he knew who I was. And I'm like, but you're CM Punk, dude. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you're WWE champion, and you're going to be, hey, you're Jesse Neal? I'm like, you know what I mean? It felt good. It felt real good, especially coming from somebody I actually look up to. So that was definitely a good moment. And, yeah, I would definitely, it would be an honor to be in the ring with somebody like CM Punk.
Were you looking to ever do that?
Quite a few people, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Are you actually looking to possibly, to get to WWE? Is that in your goals?
Oh, of course. That's always been my goal since I was 5 years old, to watching the old WWF with my uncle, and sneaking over to my uncle's house watching WWF and stuff. It's always been my dream. But now it's, slowly becoming a reality that I have a good chance, because with, the past company I worked with and the way I've been working this past year, I've been training harder than anybody else, more than anybody else has ever trained before. Like, I've sacrificed everything this past year, for the wrestling business. And, I don't expect anything out of the wrestling business, but I'm putting everything into it. So hopefully I get lucky enough to get a chance to, become a WWE superstar, because that would truly be a dream come true. And that way, on that big stage, I can finally tell my story the right way and the way the fans would appreciate it, and our country, more than just wrestling fans, because, with my story, it goes beyond the wrestling fans, the WWE universe and stuff like that. It touches, every person in this country. It's what we strive for as Americans or any other country, really wanting to become something, working our butts off, our 9-to-5 job, or having our family, but wanting to provide for our family and do something really big in life and change people's lives. I mean, I right now, I do anti-bullying campaigns at schools close here in Orlando. And, I mean, I don't brag about it. I don't get paid for it. I volunteer for that. Not because, you know, I'm conceited or into myself, but to see those little kids with a smile on their face because they're living a rough life. But for that moment in that classroom with me talking to them or me signing an autograph for them, they have that smile on their face, and that's why I do it. That's why I do what I do. And to be lucky enough to become part of WWE, man, that would be on a bigger scale that I couldn't even imagine. That definitely would be a dream come true. So, yeah, that's on the list.
You know, you actually, have you ever been to an actual live, you said you were at Tribute to the Troops last year?
Yes.
Now, you've been to it. One thing I've noticed with WWE and TNA is that WWE is paying attention to a lot of the things TNA is doing. As you guys are talking, TNA is more interactive with their fans, and I've noticed that WWE started to become more interactive with their fans at their actual live events and so forth. Now, seeing how they run the shows and so forth, what would you say are some of the biggest differences in the show besides the interaction? Is it all pretty much the same? Is it better interaction with TNA? Do you see interaction at all at any of the shows that you go to or have been to?
Obviously, with TNA, I have more experience at live shows and stuff like that. I've never been like at a house show or something like that. With WWE, I've only been to one. That was when I was, I'd probably say I was maybe 24, 25 years old. You know what I mean? Before I started wrestling, and but like on live shows, like Tribute to the Troops, man, that's why it was a dream come true for them to call me and have me in as a guest. Because, for one, it was in Norfolk, Virginia, and that's where I was stationed, so I had a lot of my boys there from the ship. And it was just so much respect from the WWE family to me. You know what I mean? I felt like, wow, they're showing so much respect to me. Like, a couple of the boys and some of the divas, like, went to the Cole Memorial, and Sheamus was one of them. And I got to talk to Sheamus backstage about that, and I told him, you know, face to face, I just want to say, you know, thank you for actually showing respect by going there and taking the time out, you know, because they're busy, you know, and Tribute to the Troops is a huge event for them, you know, and you took the time out to go there and pay his respects to, you know, my shipmates that we lost, you know what I mean? And it meant a lot to me just even to be there. And then, like, I met with Hunter and stuff, and, like, just the conversation, he thanked me for being there, and I go, Hunter, no, thank you, sir, for letting me be a part of this, you know? It's huge. I mean, just to be backstage and talking to the boys back there and, you know, the agents and stuff. And a bunch of them I worked with before, you know, like Road Dogg and Teddy Long I've been a friend with for a long time.
Teddy's awesome.
You know, yeah, Teddy's a great guy, man. He is an awesome dude. And Mick Foley was there. He come right up and hugged me and, like, was so glad that I was there, you know. It was just
Mick's just like a teddy bear,
you know. Yes, a big old teddy bear that still wears sweatpants in the airport, by the way. It's the only one that can get away with it.
You know,
he's an awesome guy, man. It was a happy moment to see a lot of those guys again. Billy Gunn, like I said, Road Dogg and stuff. Like, they just come up and hug me and said that they were just happy to see me, you know, and that meant a lot to me, you know, other than being at Tribute to the Troops for respect for the Cole and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm working really hard to get there. So,
that also goes to show you that you've been noticed. The people have taken notice about who you are and what you're all about, and they like it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That right there is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, they're taking notice, and they know me. They know my work. You know, I worked with Regal a little bit backstage, and you know, he was telling me great things and stuff, and I just, you know, appreciated the time that they were taking out of their busy schedule because, you know, Raw is live and everything, and they're the next day at Raw anyways, and you know what I mean? It was in Tribute to the Troops, obviously. I mean, that's an important taping for them, and they were taking time to talk to me and work with me and, you know, just hang out, you know, which meant a lot to me, you know. It meant they literally made me feel at home, and it was a very good feeling.
You actually got photos? Were you able to take any photos at all, or if you don't mind me asking?
No, I didn't want to really do that just yet.
Understood.
Seeing that was like one of my first times, you know, backstage. I mean, it was a more of a family friendly type atmosphere, but also
cool.
me
Yeah.
being me, I was there for business also. You know what I mean? So.
Did you get a chance to meet Vince McMahon?
I actually just missed him. He was getting into his limousine, and me, you know me, I always want to make an appearance everywhere, and I tried to run up and catch him, but he got in his limousine just too fast. But I met everybody else, so that was cool.
Awesome. Sorry about that, Austin. Go ahead.
What goes into actually getting into WWE?
What actually goes into getting into WWE? That is a good question. Do you have about 5 hours?
Yeah. No, not really.
I'll tell you what, it takes everything to get into WWE. It takes your dedication, it takes your life, it takes your heart, it takes everything, and I mean everything, if you want to be a big player in WWE. And I mean that every word I say, because I've just learned this now, like this past year, the way I've dedicated my life to, get to where I need to be in my career. It takes everything. You have to sacrifice everything to win big, and that's not just in wrestling too. It's just what you really want to do in your heart. You have to sacrifice everything. You have to go 110%, because if you don't, then you really don't want it. Then you know what I mean. So at WWE, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of what am I looking for? A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Definitely that. I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The reason he asked is also, if you didn't already know, Austin is a young man who's actually looking to aspire to be a professional wrestler. He definitely has been wanting it. He has it in his heart. He wants to do it. And he definitely looks forward to advice from veterans like yourself as to what it takes to get, be in the business, and what do you have to give. Exactly why he asked that question, I believe.
Oh, well, I mean, to just start out, you got to pick a good school. There's a lot of reputable schools out there. Of course, I'm going to say Team 3D Academy, but I can back that up, too. Look at who's training you. If you go to any school, you can go to any school in the world, look at who's training you. Look how much money they made in this business. Look what they've done in this business. Can they tell a story in that ring in this business? You have to look at who's training you. If it's just some Joe Schmo off the street and there's a trampoline in his backyard, obviously you're not going to get anywhere. Unless you want to go to Circus de Olay or whatever they call that crap. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, they probably make good money too, but I don't want to be in tights and be on some kind of psychedelic drug doing some flips in the air. You know what I mean?
I meant to caution me I plan on going to New Orleans. You ever heard of a Wildcat with Luke Hawx?
Yes, Luke Hawx is one of my very good friends, yes.
Yeah, I'm planning on going there next year when I turn 17. After you get a parent's consent, I can start up, and I plan on doing it.
Awesome. Good luck with that. Luke Hawx is a very awesome dude. He was actually with me at the last tryout with WWE, in February. Right. So he's a great guy. I got to actually be on a couple shows with him also, too. So definitely knows what he's doing.
Now, growing up, being a wrestling fan, as we all are, obviously, in the golden era, as some of us call it, some of us fans, or they call us marks, whatever you want to call us, who were some of your favorite wrestlers growing up in the golden era and in the Attitude Era and up to now? Who were some of the wrestlers you enjoyed watching on TV growing up?
My favorite that stood out when I was a little kid would have to be Sting. And the reason why I say Sting, because this was, Sting and the Road Warriors back in the day. Them two definitely stood out. Sting, because, everybody, when I was a kid around me in my school and stuff like that, they believed in superheroes and cartoons that they've seen on TV, like Superman, Batman, all that crap. Well, I always saw it as, that's just somebody on TV. And don't get me wrong, I've always liked Captain America and stuff like that. But Sting was my Captain America. It's somebody that actually truly lives. He's real, and he always came out and saved the day. And, when he got beat down by the heel, I always got mad and always hoped he'd come back later, But he would always stand out in my brain, like when I was 5 years old, like thinking he's my superhero, and I've always strived to, because I've always wanted to fill that role one day as a superhero and have kids look up to me, So I'd have to say him. And then in the Attitude Era, That's funny because I was a fan of a lot of guys. Because the Attitude Era was it, man. I think the Attitude Era, because that made a lot of wrestlers and millionaires.
Absolutely.
That was it, man. That pushed the envelope, and that's the kind of stuff I like anyways, because you tuned in. I don't care if you hated every single wrestler that was on the show that night. You still tuned in because you had no idea what was going to happen. And that's what piqued the interest of the fans, and that's what piqued the interest of me. Like Stone Cold, The Rock, Mick Foley, Triple H, The Game, Shawn Michaels. They did all their thing. The Attitude Era, I think, set the bar for, the uncontrollable, atmosphere wrestling can be, pushing the envelope.
Yeah, definitely with the NWO and Bischoff, and that's what I said. You get to work with Bischoff, who's got a hell of a mind for the wrestling business, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but he's also
definitely
got a known reputation for being maybe hard in the locker room, but I don't know if that's true or not. That's being a hard ass. I don't know. You see so much crap on the internet these days. You don't know what to believe anymore, and half of it's
my experience with Bischoff was good. Like, there was nothing bad with me and Eric Bischoff. Bischoff gave me great advice while I was in the business with TNA, backstage and stuff, and he gave me one of the best advice ever. Hey, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad talking about you, as long as they're talking about you. Controversy equals money. And
controversy creates cash. Absolutely.
That's it. Exactly.
He wrote a book about it. He should know.
Yeah, he made a lot of money doing it. So there you go.
But, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, actually, we have one caller on the line who's been waiting patiently. He's our buddy Matt.
Okay.
We'll bring him on, and he's got a question for you. In the meantime, hang in there. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pipebomb Radio. Tonight we're speaking to former TNA star, current independent wrestler, Jesse Neal. Let's get him back on the air and get her going. Welcome back, guys.
All right, I'm here.
But you were jamming to the song, too, weren't you? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was singing along.
Oh, no, you weren't.
That's why I'm a wrestler. I'm not a singer. You won't see me on American Idol, I promise.
But let's go ahead and bring on our buddy Matt. He's been waiting patiently to talk to you, so we'll go ahead and do that right now. Hey, Matt, are you there?
Hi, Felix. Yes, I am here.
Got a question for our boy here, Jesse Neal. Go for it.
Yes, I do. Hi, Jesse. Nice
What's
to meet
up, man?
you.
Go ahead with the question. Huh?
Okay. Okay. I noticed that you've been competing in the Indies as of right now, but if you have the chance, would you go back to TNA to compete?
Well, I mean, I've had this question before asked to me, and I would definitely, wherever there's opportunity for me inside that ring to either make money or entertain the fans, I'm definitely okay with it. So if I had any opportunity, I would, if it was a good opportunity.
All right. Alrighty, thank you so much, Matt. Did you want to hang in there and just listen in for the rest of the show, or?
That's what I'm planning to do, Felix. It was good talking to you, Jesse.
Oh, thanks. Sounds good.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Matt, for calling in, and we hope you're enjoying the show.
I will. I'm going to be right here listening to the conversation, and can't wait to hear about more conversations on the show.
All righty. Thank you again, Matt.
Great.
All right. All righty. That was our good friend Matt calling in. Good guy. Very good guy. Speaking briefly about TNA, Jesse, if you don't mind, how do you feel about the storyline they're going with Aces and Eights? Do you like how it's going? Are you a fan of it?
I actually really don't watch it. Ever since I left, I really don't watch it. But
I'm sorry.
I still work with Bubba and Devon at the school and stuff, so I know I'm up to date with what they're doing, and I love the concept of Aces of Eights. As long as they have a motive, something to accomplish, Aces of Eights will be definitely a force to be reckoned with. As long as and with Bully Ray being their leader, man, like I said before, he's one of the best brains that I know in this business to date, and as long as he's the leader, man, they're going to go somewhere.
speaking of schools that you were talking about, as we were talking with Austin about that, there's the Team 3D Academy, and I actually used to live out in Kissimmee, excuse me. I get mad if you pronounce it wrong, excuse me.
Some people do.
They do, yes. They have the Team 3D Academy out there. They've got Luke Hawks' school there, and I also wanted to put in a mention of Knox Pro, which is Rikishi's school out here in California, where I'm at.
Yes, I've heard nothing but good things about Rikishi's school out there.
They put on some awesome shows. If you ever get a chance to come out this way, man, and work with them, I encourage it.
Oh, I would love to.
They do an awesome show, man.
If Rikishi's listening out there, I would be honored to be part of that show. So let's do it.
I also wanted to mention, too, one last thing real quick, is that a friend of mine who I guess is somewhat of an indie promoter coming out of Texas, he said that if you were ever interested in going to Texas, he'd definitely love to put you on.
Oh, that'd be awesome for any promoter out there. I love traveling out of state for indie shows. I'm definitely good working with promoters from out of state and stuff like that, with travel and stuff like that. All they got to do is email me at bookjesseneal@gmail.com. So anybody email me there, man. We'll talk and we'll get it done. I love traveling and I love being in the ring, so let's make it happen.
Also, if the fans want to follow you or keep up with what you're doing in the wrestling business, how can they follow you? Through Twitter or Facebook? Do you have a I know you have a Twitter, I think.
Yeah, I'm all over the place now. I got Twitter, Tout, Twitter and Tout, and Instagram. They're all three the same. It's basically twitter.com/the Jesse Neal, or Instagram.com/ the Jesse Neal. Facebook is different. It's facebook.com/book Jesse Neal, just like in my my email. So there's some fakes out there, and not getting involved with the fake ones. They talk about some crazy stuff on there, but my real one has up-to-date stuff, literally to the second of what I'm doing. I always try to, post anything and everything I can on social media to keep the fans in the loop with what I'm doing and stuff, because I'm all over the place right now. I'm definitely got a lot of great momentum coming up. Next couple months, some really huge stuff coming up, so definitely keep in touch.
I've seen that you had in your profile pic, if you don't mind me asking, you had some weird-looking mask on. Were you going to fight aliens or something?
That's actually funny you bring that up, because that's actually a gas mask I painted. It's red, white, and blue, and it's like dripping down. It's part of my Dog of War character. I wear it out to the ring now.
I thought you were going to join the Men in Black or something and go fight some aliens. I'm just
hey, brother, you never know. They're out there, and there's certain groups out there that's always keep an eye out, and I could be a contender there. Who knows? But I'm always ready for anything, man. Wearing the mask out there, so any alien can come. I won't fight him. I want to talk to him. I want to see what's going on. Maybe get off this rock.
I just want to say I have a bunch of respect for what you and what all people, the wrestlers that put their heart and soul out into every match they do, and much respect for what you do in the ring.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Austin. Appreciate that.
Do you have any questions for him, Austin? Any more questions?
No,
I got loads of them.
I just wanted to say that, yeah.
Cool. Now, I actually wanted to ask you about how do you feel about the induction of Bruno Sammartino into the Hall of Fame earlier this year? A lot of people felt like it brought more prestige to the Hall of Fame, yet they still feel some names are lacking, missing, that should be there. What are your thoughts about that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was the first thought of my mind, why didn't this happen sooner, to be honest with you? You know what I mean? And I think it did bring a lot to the WWE Hall of Fame when they brought Bruno in there, because it means a lot to not just for the business, but to the wrestling fans also, because, he's a pioneer of this business, He's what, we all strive for, to always be remembered and be a legend, like him. And there's a lot of names missing, but, WWE's not done yet, man. There's going to be a lot more Hall of Fames, and a lot of respectful people are going to get their spot in there. And hopefully one day down the line I'll be maybe one of them. Who knows?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because you have a lot, and this is not putting anything against the person I'm mentioning or you in any way. I'm actually doing a good comparison because to me, I see a lot of what you bring, and I see it reminds me a lot of Randy Savage. And the reason I say that, and let me explain that real quick, is because I read something about him, and it's true because his character, he brought something different to wrestling that people still talk about to this day, whether it be his in-ring ability, whether it be his flashy ring wear that he had. I mean, only he can wear sequin jackets and the gimmick jackets and make it, and still people want to be like him, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. You bring something different that he brought, and I think that's actually a good thing.
Well, I appreciate the comparison there. That's awesome. I'm honored for you to say that. And I try to do the same thing, man. Like I mean, one time for a Halloween show, a kid came dressed up as me, you know, like a 4-year-old came up dressed as me in a muscle suit, and they Sharpied up tattoos that look just like mine and stuff, and I actually ended up bringing them to the ring with me, you know, and it actually gives me strength when I see kids looking up to me, because I never thought the day would happen where kids would actually look up to me, and now I kind of am becoming that superhero for these kids, you know. So
absolutely.
I definitely thank you for that comparison. I appreciate it. It's an honor. But I try to do that same thing. I try to be different, but I also stay myself. You know, I'm real out there in that ring for those fans, and I think the fans appreciate that more because I bring change. You know, I'm not that, you know, that prototype that, you know, that everybody is so used to, you know, of seeing in the ring. You know what I mean? I bring something different for the fans to see that you can be different in your world too, you know, and I show them that it's okay.
Or you can go by the philosophy of Shannon and you go with Dillygaff.
Yes, exactly, and that's what helped me bring my own character out is Shannon and his old Dillygaff thing. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I loved it. I loved the attitude. I loved the attitude that came with it. You know, it was great.
Now, and I have to ask this because I swear, and in my opinion, I think it has, but what do you feel that the Internet has killed the element of surprise in professional wrestling?
I was just talking to my bestie about that last night, about when we were watching Raw, that social media kind of kills a lot of things in it, but it also brings new things to the business as well. So, you know, it gets more awareness out, you know what I mean? And it also thinks that, you know, it lets the social media say, oh, this is going to happen, and then it tells whoever that happens to be like, no, let's flip it on them. You know what I mean? And the fans kind of smirk about it and be like, oh, you know what I mean? It leaves that element of surprise still left. You know, it'll always be there, especially when you have live shows. And live shows are the best because you can always flip script. You never know what's going to happen. And that's what I think the business needs to go back to, you know.
Well, you know, that's what I think WWE has been embracing the fact. I mean, at first it was kind of bothering them because they were trying to keep things still under wraps. You know, with when an example being Jericho returning back in 2000, I think 2007, 2008, and they wanted to keep it under wraps, and they couldn't. It was leaked out that he was returning. That was you know, that was on the internet. Now I've noticed in the last year or so, possibly 2 years, that WWE has been embracing that, and they've been actually, you know, talking about certain things more as opposed to keeping it secret until the show happens. You know, with let me give you an example for this. It is Alberto Del Rio winning the world title from Big Show. I think it was earlier this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Austin.
Yeah.
It was beginning of 2012.
Oh, wow.
Beginning of 2012, yeah.
My bad. Thank you so much. Yes. My wrestling historian here.
But, you know,
yeah, well, you know, that's why I said, you know, it's like you said, it takes the good and the bad with the wrestling business as far as social media, the internet. In my opinion, when it first started out getting big, I really felt like it took it away. But maybe now it wouldn't be as bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As long as they're not afraid to push the envelope, I think it would be a great thing. You know what I mean? I think and I mean, of course, with social media, it comes with more fan interaction. You know, they have the more voting, you know, stuff like that, like who's going to wrestle who and that type of thing. You know, so it could be a good thing. Plus, with, you know, all the extra stuff that like WWE's doing with their superstars, you know, doing the bully campaigns, the Be a Star campaigns, you know, and the other appearances, the autograph signing and stuff. It just gets awareness out, especially with all the WWE studio movies that are coming out. it definitely gets awareness out with that. So that's very good stuff. It's good stuff there.
Have you ever gone to a WrestleMania, if you don't mind me asking?
I actually went to the one here in Orlando.
2008?
And I was part of that little group.
I was there too. That was freaking awesome.
And I say little group with a lot of sarcasm because it was huge. And
yes.
And I was actually up in the nosebleeds.
Oh, not me. I was down like a 13th row floor.
Oh,
yes, that was a freaking awesome show.
I'll tell you what a great experience that was. For one, because I was up in the nosebleeds. Because hopefully one day I'll actually be working for that company one day. But
hey, were you actually there when the fireworks went off after Undertaker won? I heard somebody said that they got burned after that.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember hearing about that.
Coming back down on us. Yeah, because we were right up there where the fireworks hit. It was actually coming back down on us, which was kind of freaky. But whatever. Yeah. You got to be able to dodge that stuff. You never know what's going to happen. But I'll tell you my favorite moment of that WrestleMania was the opening match when it was like a battle royal and stuff. Shannon Moore was actually in that match. And for me to actually start tagging with him when I got to TNA was crazy. It was like, wow, I was sitting there watching you at WrestleMania, and now I'm tagging with you. So that was kind of a a moment for me, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask, and feel free to express your opinion however you want. In this case, it's an open forum. Mm-hmm. What does TNA have to do to compete with WWE, and does it really matter how they compete? People want to see them compete like WCW did, but they didn't. They had Ted Turner back then. It's a little different now than it was then, but what do you think that TNA or even WWE would have to do to compete with any company, really?
Well, to be honest with you, I think, like I've been saying in this interview, was you can't be afraid to push the envelope. Like with TNA, they have one hell of a roster there.
Yes, they do.
You have to know how to use them. You know what I mean? You have to you have to be putting them in the right spots and the right, and I think the main thing, the number one thing that a lot of times falls through is you have to listen to the fans. The fans are telling them what they want to see. They're the ones putting in the money. You know what I mean? To give a little bit to the fans, and of course you can't let the fans basically say everything. You know what I mean? But to give them a little bit, it shows them that they're paying attention. So I think they could get a lot more out of it if they just listen to the fans a little more.
Then what the hell is the excuse for John Cena? Oh, my God. That dude, he gets booed out of the building half the time, but they love him to death at the same time. You know what I mean?
Hold on, I got to ask my PR lady. No comment?
Sorry.
Oh, man. Yeah.
No disrespect meant, because you know what?
Yeah,
I appreciate
let's just say I wish I had his opportunity, because the fans want real. Let's just leave it at that.
Yes. No, I respect that. That's perfectly fine, because I was going to mention one thing in the perspective to him.
I have real dog tags that I can kiss. Oh, who can see me now, huh?
He's done over 300 wishes for the Make-A-Wish, and that's something that is commendable.
If I got paid millions of dollars, I'd do it too. I mean,
sorry.
I'm just kidding. What he does for those kids you can't even speak, highly enough about that. To be honest with you, I mean, to do what he does with those Make-A-Wish kids is unbelievable, and I definitely applaud him for that. That's amazing what he does with those kids, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Did you actually, years back, I don't know if you remember, you might, you're old enough, I think you might be able to remember, the old tough, shut up, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm sorry. But do you remember Tough Enough on MTV when they did it back about 10, 12 years ago?
Yep.
Do you think that they could actually ever bring that magic back? I know they tried, but it didn't work.
I don't know. I think that it's been done. You know what I mean? And it's time to move on. I think they need to evolve. They need to, like I said, they need to evolve into something that the fans aren't used to watching. So that way the fans can feel like when we were kids, sit on the edge of their seats and like, oh my God, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? And I've heard that they have like great plans coming up in the future. They have that new school here in Orlando opening up, and that just means all new things, man, and unbelievable things that they can do with that. So I'm definitely excited to see what's coming up because, I mean, every pro wrestler should be a fan, Before you go out to that ring, you should have that little nervousness feeling of excitement, to go out there. And if you don't, you should get out of the business. And I'm talking to everybody. If you don't have that feeling, you should just leave. Because
you still get a rush when you get out there?
Huh?
You still get that rush, the adrenaline rush when you go through the curtain?
I love it. And I was actually talking to one of my buddies in the locker room this past Saturday here at Sanford when I did an indie show. And I'm like, man, I still got that little nervousness feeling, I love that feeling that, and he's like, that's why you're still doing it. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. I just loved it, And then, of course, I hit the curtain, and then it all goes away because the adrenaline starts kicking in and the fans are screaming. And, every time I go out there, I realize why I'm doing it,
Absolutely. You know what? I know it's about approaching midnight in your neck of the woods. I believe you said you live out in Orlando. Kissimmee,
Yep.
Kissimmee.
Well, it's Orlando, but yeah, I'm right near Kissimmee.
Did you actually ever live out in the Osceola County area?
Yes, when I went to high school and grew up and stuff like that, I lived in St. Cloud, Kissimmee area.
Wow. Okay, were you actually out there when the hurricanes hit in 2004?
Yes. Hurricane Charlie. That was one of the worst hurricanes that we've ever seen.
Yes, I was there.
I'll tell you what,
it was
that was crazy, man. I mean, of course, me and my buddies, we were, having a good old time the next couple of days because we had no power and nothing to do because, our jobs were having no power, so we couldn't work, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
so
yes.
We basically filled up a bunch of coolers, full of, like meats and breads and, of course, beer, and had a good old time.
Know that feeling?
Yes. Yes. You were around. How old were you when Katrina hit, if you don't mind me asking, Austin?
I was, it was in 2005, so I was like, I don't know, I think it was like maybe 7 or 8. I'm not sure, but anyway, our first part of our house actually got flooded. And but the thing is, it's kind of weird to say, but I kind of like the calm before the storm.
Before the storm, yes, definitely. Yep, I agree with that 100%. I love it.
But you know what? Let's go ahead and wrap it up, in this case, because I definitely don't want to keep you on all night, and it's getting late in your area. I just want to say on my behalf and Austin as well, we definitely want to thank you. It's honestly been feeling like we've been talking with an old friend for about an hour now about just being wrestling fans. And
that's a
it's
good
been
thing,
fun.
brother.
I really have enjoyed it, and I hope you definitely have too.
Definitely.
Austin, did you have any final questions for Jesse?
No, that was it. I was, bunch of respect for what you do in the ring. Bunch of respect.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. That's why I still do it.
And who knows, within the next year or so, we might be seeing you on WWE. You never know. Never say never.
That'd definitely be a dream come true. Yeah, you can never say never in this business, and I'm working harder than anybody has ever even thought they could work. So we'll see what happens.
It has been an honor and indeed a privilege to speak with you, sir, and I appreciate you staying on here with us this whole hour. And hopefully, maybe sometime down the line, we may have you come on back and talk with us if you have that time, of course.
Definitely, brother. It'd be an honor, man. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right, man. You have yourself a good night.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right.